Welcome to Tweet of the Week. I would first like to thank Chloe Lader from Wolfsville Elementary, who created this beautiful painted bird to help decorate our set. Chloe was in second grade when she created that masterpiece. I have two very exciting guests here today. Have you ever heard of Project Lit? Well, if you haven't, you are in for a treat because I have an amazing teacher, Amanda Kremnitzer from Tuscarora High School, and one of the students who is participating in that, Gabriela Alcantar. And I want to thank both of you ladies for being here because there are exciting things happening that have a lot to do with reading. Amanda?
So Project Lit started in Nashville, Tennessee by a teacher who noticed that his school was kind of a book desert. And by that he meant there wasn't an easy access to books. And we felt that Tuscarora kind of fits that because even though we have wonderful libraries in the county, there isn't one in the Tuscarora feeder, which makes it hard for our students to go pick up a book that they might find engaging. And our media specialist does a great job getting books, but those are only open during school hours. So how do we get students reading? How do we get them engaged? Project Lit seemed to be the way to go.
And Gabriela, what was it that made you interested in looking into this as a club to participate in at Tuscarora High School?
I actually had Miss Kremnitzer last year as my 8th grade English teacher. And so when she said, I'm going to make a club about like these books, and then she described the books, like it was just like, I wanted to join the club because the books touch very like important subjects that are going around like at the moment, like all around the news, and it just got me interested to join the club.
So contemporary topics, contemporary issues that impact students, and these books give you a way to sort of unpack that and maybe understand it a little bit better. And so it's great to hear one of your students talk about how you inspired them to do this. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the club does?
Right now, the club is working on 4 texts that they picked throughout the year. They started with the 57 bus. Our next focus will be I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. And then we'll be looking into Refugee, which is a middle school Black Eyed Susan book this year. And then Dear Martin by Nick Stone. Students over the summer that I had reached out to picked those books because they had read them with me in 8th grade. And they thought they were really something to talk about. But the club is just trying to find more text. So when the Hate U Give movie started to come out in September, the kids were like, we have to talk about this. We have to get more books in the hands of our students. And so we veered away from our traditional book club a little bit, and we were like, let's just put the Hate U Give in as many hands as we can. And students have been knocking on my door. Students I don't know that are 11th and 12th grade at Tuscarora are knocking on my door going, do you have a copy I can borrow? And they're taking it, and then they're coming back 2 days later like, I couldn't believe what was going on in that story. And it's just this amazing like camaraderie of readers. We're really building that community. To give service back, our book club started looking at a book drive for elementary schools. And we reached out to Orchard Grove, and we want to give every kid in either 1st or 2nd grade a book to take home with them for the holiday break, because we want to instill that love in reading at a young age. And we want them to come through our feeder system loving reading and knowing where to get books and knowing how to find them.
And I actually was fortunate enough to get a copy of The Hate U Give, and I have started reading it as well. And all I could think of is what a powerful tool as we, as a system, embark on a cultural proficiency journey. That book really helps you begin to understand the power of lenses and where you come from. And so again, it's been a powerful read for me, and maybe at some point I'll get a chance to talk to the students who have read it and hear from them as well. But your tweet was actually about a very special opportunity you provided for your club members.
So Carroll County Public Schools had the author Jason Reynolds come, or not public schools, public library had Jason Reynolds come visit to talk about the finale of his track series. And I took a bunch of students that I had because they pulled Long Way Down off my shelf, and they were like, this is the first book I've read in a really long time, and I love it. And I was like, well, you got to meet the author. He's awesome. So I reached out to their parents, and their parents took them down. And Jason Reynolds was just very approachable for them. They're listening to everything he was saying, and at first he's trying to put the earpiece in his ear, and he was like, no, this gets in the way of my hair. And my students were like, yes, finally someone who understands. And then he was also talking about stereotypes in literature and how sometimes literature wants to present an African American child as the tough child, but really they're the weirdest child. And my students were like, he's so right, we need more of that. So for them to have an opportunity to have a discussion and feel like somebody heard them and could voice them in literature was a huge deal.
So Gabriela, if someone were to say to you, why should I read one of these books, or why should I join this club, what would you tell them?
I would just say you need to read the book because it touches a subject that a lot of people have different perspectives on, because the book is about an African American getting shot, and we've heard about that in the news like for a while now. Oh, the cop was being racist, this and this. But like, you really need to just get both. Sometimes we just listen to one side of the story, and I feel like the book touches on both sides of the story, and it just touches on how like herself, Star, she needs to like switch personalities because she goes to like a fancy preppy school versus like what they call the hood, and like it's just two different lives she has to balance.
And so Ms. Kremnitzer has done an excellent job of bringing books to you that students can connect with and relate
Yes.
to, and maybe through the literature things are expressed in a way that's hard for me to say myself, or helps me to think about things in a new way. And that's the power of literature. So thank you so much for opening that door for so many of our students. And if there are other teachers who would like to start a Project Lit club in their school, can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me. I would love to help. We talked to a couple other schools already about what they want to do and how to go about it.
So the power of reading and learning about amazing opportunities through the tweets that our amazing staff share about the wonderful things that happen across our school system. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. Thank you for inspiring others to read a book, take a journey, learn about someone else's perspective. Thank you for joining us for Tweet of the Week.